Good morning, everyone. My name is Frank Cornelissen and I'm the Chief Commercial Officer at Floriade Expo 2022. I'm very happy to speak to all of you today at the AIPH Spring Conference. Unfortunately, we couldn't attend physically because it's only 38 days until our opening, but we're very happy to give you a progress report via video. Now, for those of you that are not fully familiar with Floriade, we will be hosting the next edition of Floriade, the 7th edition of this international horticultural exhibition in Almere, the Netherlands, starting April 14th, running through to October 9th. So that really is only a very, very short time to opening. As you'll all understand, progress is very good. We're making really good progress on the build and on the site itself, and things are looking very good indeed. Now, the site itself is really unique. You can see it on the screen here, as we are located right in the middle of Almere city. And the beauty of our site is that we are surrounded by water and we have a motorway running through the site as well, which means connectivity is absolutely excellent. You can see that we're located very close to Amsterdam, as well as Amsterdam Schiphol International Airport, meaning the site is very, very easily accessible both by domestic visitors as well as international tourists. The site itself is quite extensive. It's 60 hectares, 150 acres. And will be transformed from expo site into residential neighborhood after the expo has concluded. Now, just some facts about Floriade. We are roughly 60 hectares, 150 acres in size. We're running for half a year, 179 days. We've got a forecast of 2 million visitors, so that still stands despite everything going on in the world at the moment. And we expect 72% of those to be national visitors, domestic visitors, and 28% international. And the most of our international visitors will be from our neighboring countries. So we're expecting very, very strong attendance from Germany, Belgium, France, and of course, the United Kingdom. We have, other than our regular visitors, we do have some special interest groups as well. We expect 65,000 school children to attend, and we do expect around 300,000 business-to-business visitors, who are obviously very, very important for the Floriade concept. When you look at the expo site itself, we're now aiming towards 33 participating countries, official participants and non-official participants, and we're looking into, we're forecasting anywhere between 200 and 250 national participants. So we've got a really, really nice mix of somewhere in the region of 250 to 300 participating countries and companies creating Floriade Expo. The theme of this edition of Floriade is growing green cities. So we're all about exploring how we can make our cities greener, better, healthier, and future-proof, really. So all of our participants, international as well as national, will be reflecting on that theme and will be sharing their best practices and their solutions to some of the challenges that we as a world face at the moment. Most of you will know that the UN does forecast that by 2035, roughly 68% of the world's population will be living in cities, which is only 2% of the world's surface. And that really does require that we think about cities in a different way than we have so far. We've divided the Growing Green Cities theme into 4 sub-themes, which you can see on the screen here, which are greening the city, feeding the city, healthying the city, and energizing the city. Now, all of our participants will reflect on at least one of these sub-themes, but I'm very happy to say that several participants will be reflecting on all 4 of these sub-themes, and we'll be really sharing those best practices across the varying sub-themes. Our founder is the municipality of Almere. The municipality of Almere is one of the biggest cities in the Netherlands, which means there's roughly 215,000 people living in the city, and the city will be expanding to 300,000 residents in the next decade or so. There's also plans to grow even further to 400,000 residents, which means that it will be one of the top 5 cities in the Netherlands. The city was built in the 1960s as a planned city, a planned community by the Garden City design, which means that it was all green space was always central to living in Almere. You can see that in these images of the city of Almere very clearly as well. It's a spacious city, it's a green city, and water and plants are everywhere around you. It's a very, very nice way of living here. And we all always urge our visitors to not just visit Floriade, but to explore the city of Almere as well, with our partners, or just have dinner after your visit to the expo. Another founder is the province of Flevoland. The province of Flevoland is the 12th province of the Netherlands, it's the youngest province, and it's all reclaimed land. We are located within this province, and one of the beauties of the province of Flevoland is how incredibly beautiful it is and how much natural area the province offers. Another thing that's really quite fascinating is the focus of the province of Flevoland on food and food technology and innovation in food. And all of that you'll be able to experience at the expo, because the province will have their own pavilion, food forum, where they will be discussing exactly these subjects and these topics. Now, going back to Floriade, we've really summarized the concept into the visual that you're seeing on the screen right now, just to be able to provide people with an impression, a visual impression of what this expo will look like, what this Floriade edition will look like. And when we get into a little bit more technicality, then we've really divided it into these 6 layers of what we have on offer. So obviously, number one, first and foremost, green and horticulture. That is the basis of who we are, the basis of our product, and it's also where we really, really shine this edition. Participants are another crucial element of our mix, and I'll be showing you a little bit of the progress of the participants later on. The greenhouse is something that we are particularly proud of. One of the largest publicly accessible greenhouse in Europe. We have an arts and cultural program which is far surpasses any of the previous editions of Floriade. Food, beverage and retail will be absolutely integral to anyone's visit. And then of course there's the legacy, which is something that we are particularly proud of. Our entire expo site has been master planned by the famous Dutch architect Winnie Maas. And one of the beautiful and very, very unique aspects of the expo site is the arboretum. So our expo site has been divided into 192 different plots, individual plots. And all of these plots have a 4-meter wide arboretum border round the plot. And in that arboretum border, we've managed to plant a very, very rich collection of trees, shrubs, plants and perennials. And we've done that based on botanical names. So we go from A all the way through to Z. Now the planting of the majority of that arboretum border was finished last year, and it's looking absolutely fantastic at the moment. So you can see some of the images of its current state in the screen here. And this will be a very, very impactful part of the Floriade experience, because anywhere you looked, there will be the arboretum. You cannot go anywhere on site without seeing the arboretum and the borders there, the collection within those borders. And what I personally really appreciate about the arboretum is that it is a permanent feature. So this will become an integral part of the residential neighborhood being built on the expo site after the expo is finished. And it will have some really, really good benefits for the people living in that neighborhood, because the arboretum will actually lower temperatures in summer and increase temperatures in winter, and thereby providing additional energy efficiency for the people living in this future neighborhood. National participants are of course very important to Floriade, and we're happy to report that we have a wide range of national participants currently preparing their participations. Just to give you a few examples, to highlight a few of the examples that you see here. One of my personal favorites is the Wool Union, which is a beautiful pavilion talking about the future of sustainable fashion and all of the beautiful ways that we can color wool without using chemicals or processes that have a negative impact on the environment. Another really nice example, and this is all about using alternative materials to build, is the Growing Pavilion, where they're not just using bio-based materials, but are using bio-based materials with a minimal environmental footprint. So the Growing Pavilion is made out of fungi, which means it is a living building. It's still growing. We need to trim it occasionally, but it just goes to show that you don't necessarily need to use concrete or brick or even wood to build, you can actually use very different materials. Another beautiful element of the park is what we call our classic and future moments. So these are Instagram gardens created on a slope. So if you do take a selfie in front of one of these gardens, you will only be able to see the plants, the beautiful horticulture behind you. Now, half of these moments have been designed by established garden designers, and half of them have been designed by the talented designers of the future, students. So this is something that we are particularly proud of, and I'm sure you'll be able to see these gardens feature on your Instagram feeds many, many times over the coming months. Our international participants are very hard at work to get everything ready for the opening on April 14. Just some examples on the screen here are Germany. So the process is going very, very smoothly for Germany. They've topped out the building only 2 weeks ago and are now working on the interior fit out. Another one that you can see on the screen here is Japan. As you can see, Japan is very, very far along in the construction process, and their pavilion is looking particularly impressive. That will definitely be a big draw for our visitors. You can also see China here, and the beautiful design of the China Bamboo Garden and Pavilion. The cable car is a very prominent feature on our expo site. The cable car was finished and was actually in operation last summer, and we're just going through the security checks at the moment to be able to operate it again this year. As you can see, it crosses the entire expo site. It goes from one end straight through the other. It does cross the motorway as well, and you can see here that we have some foil on the cabins for security reasons. The cable car is of course a very important element of any Floriade edition. We've had them in numerous of the previous editions, and in 2022 we'll have yet another very spectacular cable car. I always love to say that our cable car is the tallest, the longest, the fastest and the most beautiful one in the Netherlands. It's also the only one. You can see how it runs clear across the site and gives you a really impactful and unique bird's eye view of the arboretum borders and the various participants. So this is absolutely a must-visit destination. The cable car was in operation last summer, and we're just going through the final security checks to have it in operation again for this year. The greenhouse really is a highlight, and you can't miss it, in the sense that it is absolutely massive. It's 10,000 square meters, and it will feature a few hundred national participants. And we've got everything in here, from flowers all the way through to fruit and vegetables. Now, the beauty of the greenhouse is that we combine many, many different experiences. So whether that's the high-tech greenhouse, whether that's the flower competitions, or whether it's a restaurant, you can find all of that within the greenhouse. The greenhouse is completely topped out, all the glass is in, and we're also very happy to report that despite 3 storms hitting the greenhouse a few weeks ago, it sustained absolutely no damage whatsoever, and we're currently going through the fit out, which is completely on schedule. Arts and Culture are very, very excited about presenting the biggest arts and culture program ever for any edition of Floriade. You can see a few images on the screen. Some of these are a little bit outdated already, but our art pavilion, which is now called M, has been officially opened already. It looks absolutely stunning. And one of the wonderful things that we can now share with you is the sculpture made by famous Dutch artist Florentijn Hofman, which will be located in the central square area of the expo. And that will be this beautiful, beautiful statue made out of bees. That will be extremely impactful, and that will actually stay in Almere even after the expo. Food and beverage are a very, very important part of Floriade, not in the least because feeding the city is one of our themes. So we've really tried to put our own stamp on all of the food and beverage offering that we have on site. So one of the things is obviously plant-based, which is the obvious thing to do, but we also really look at the entire supply chain environmental footprint. So one of the things that I'm sure everyone's familiar with, is a very popular dish at the moment, is of course avocado on toast. I'm very sorry to say that you won't be able to order that at Floriade because the avocados are actually flown to the Netherlands. We cannot grow them here, successfully. So we will be working predominantly with natural materials that are locally produced. So 80% of all of our ingredients will be locally produced. So on the screen here you can see a few examples of what the restaurants will look like, what the food will look like, but also who the people are that will be preparing the food for you. So we are partnering with a few national catering partners to operate our major outlets, but we're also partnering with local entrepreneurs and local chefs that will be providing, on a somewhat smaller scale, their specialties. And obviously Sharon is our absolute local superstar. And she will be providing all of the food that you can sample at the Food Forum, which is the pavilion by the province of Flevoland. So the final point that we wanted to emphasize to you all is the legacy of Floriade. You can see on the screen here that a big part of the legacy is already there. You can see the Erasmus University, which is already operating, which is an active university on the Expo site. That's already operating. People are already having classes there. They will be taught there during the Expo as well. And the university will obviously remain after the Expo closes. Another thing that I want to highlight here are the bridges. So you can see the bridge on the screen. There's actually 7 bridges on the Expo site in total, all built new for the Expo and will remain in place as part of that residential neighborhood. Now, all of these bridges are special in their own right. We have a living bridge, but we also have a bio-based bridge. And we have a second life bridge, which is actually an old bridge that was refurbished especially for the Expo. And there is one bridge, and I won't tell you which one it is, that is actually made out of hemp fiber. So natural materials used to create a bridge. And all of that is part of a project to sustainably renew the bridges that the Netherlands has to renew in the next couple of years, or the next couple of decades. You can also see on this screen the train station for the city of Almere's Almere Centrum Station, which is being revamped especially for the Expo. So obviously that will benefit the Expo visitors, but it will also benefit the residents of the city of Almere for many, many decades to come. Now there's obviously a lot more that we can tell you about the Expo in Floriade, but our time is up unfortunately. And I want to finish this update, this progress report, with a warm invitation to all of you to come visit us in Almere from April 14th onward. And we'll be very happy to show you around and to show you exactly what we've done here in Almere. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you for allowing us to give you this progress report, and we hope to see you soon in Almere.